like consistent. The last one is going to be a Protoss versus Protoss, and like every single other matchup, Hero does not play the Protoss versus Protoss matchup the way that you would normally see it played. He likes to do all sorts of very interesting things. He likes Stargate tech. He likes all sorts of different crazy things. So how is he actually going to play out this match? And this is the one I'm going to choose here is going to be between Hero and Inori. Now Inori has been a very big up and comer lately. He's been posting some very solid results at IPL, MLGs. The only thing that he hasn't really been posting results at is the GSL. I don't even think he's qualified for Code A. That being said, he has been playing very, very well in Milestones, a foreign tournament. So, how is he going to do against Liquid Hero, who has just been one of the best Protoss in the world lately? He took top 4 in the last GSL season. I know he got knocked out of his group very, very badly in season 3 just recently. I think it was this week. But he's been posting a lot of solid results lately. So how are these two very popular Protosses in the recent scene going to do against each other? This will be on the map Ohana. So here we go. Spawning down here in the bottom right of the map, Ohana Ladder Edition, we have our red Protoss player from Team the SCV Life. We have Inori. And spawning up here in the top left position, we have from Team Liquid our blue Protoss player, Hero. Alright, so now, like I've said before, Hero does not play this matchup the way that I normally see it played. He does not typically go for any kind of very early robotics tech style. He likes mobility when he plays. He likes heavier gateway timings. He likes utilizing things that allow him to utilize his control. Now, the one thing about robotics tech for Protoss is that it is a little bit more straightforward. You build these units, you attack with these units. They are cost effective against certain things. Immortals kill armored units, Colossus kill small swarmy units. Now, I know you can micro the two. I know you can micro them. I've seen all sorts of brilliant things done micro-wise with robotics tech. You guys have seen my cast number 19, where Karebi utilizes warp prisms and immortals and just micros beautifully with them. But in general, the robotics tech is the least micro-intensive tech for Protoss. Gateway has blink stalkers and force fields, and just sentries in general. And then Stargate, everything you utilize out of a Stargate requires a lot of micro. You need to micro Phoenixes, you need to micro Void Rays, hell, even carriers need to be microed, although nobody ever uses carriers. But in general, robotics tech, least micro-intensive tech for Protoss. So Hero likes to utilize the other two tech choices in this matchup. Will he? I don't know. Now, if you guys don't mind, just because this is a Protoss versus Protoss, and virtually nothing happens very early on in a Protoss versus Protoss, aside from them, really just mirroring each other's builds at this point. The only difference right here is the fact that Hero went for an earlier gas, meanwhile Inori did not. I think I'm going to fast forward it just slightly. Now, Inori does go for his second gas a little bit after Hero does. That does allow him, I think, to get his... No, the Cybernetics Core is... Yeah, Cybernetics Core does go up for Inori faster than it does go up for Hero, so that does give him a slight lead on his Warp Gate. But Hero, of course, does have a higher gas income, which will allow him to get down his secondary tech structure much sooner than Inori can. Hero is also going for that sentry. I think that he is worried that he is going to be hit with a very early rush timing. And see what I mean? True to my advertisement, Hero is very consistent in the way that he plays his own style. He does not like to go for things like robotics tech, so he is going for this Stargate. And actually, this is going to be interesting because I don't ever usually see this in Protoss versus Protoss. I never see two people going for Stargate tech. Never see it. Never see it. I just don't see it. It's always one guy goes for Stargate tech, the other guy goes for things like Dark Templar or robotics tech or a very heavy gateway timing. But now both players are going to be going for that Stargate. Inori is actually going to scout the fact that Hero is going for this Stargate, and I don't think Hero actually has that same information from Inori. Inori is actually dropping down a second Stargate. So now that he knows that Hero is going for Stargate, he is going for an even... He's basically like, okay, you're going Stargate, I'm going to go more Stargate. I'm going to make more air units than you have. it doesn't matter that you have really good control. I'm going to have the ability to just have more Phoenixes out on the field and more Void Rays out on the field. So this is actually already shaping up to be a very different Protoss versus Protoss than what I am used to. But Hero does get the first Phoenix out on the field. The first Phoenix for Inori is just now finishing. Phoenix versus Phoenix, who wins? Well, it's actually a draw. You can't out-micro a Phoenix with a Phoenix. See what I mean, guys? You can't out-micro a Phoenix with a Phoenix, so they'll just end up destroying each other. Oh, you had two very solid Phoenix pilots, but you can't out micro a Phoenix with a Phoenix. You can out micro Mutalisk with Phoenix almost all day, but you cannot out micro a Phoenix with a Phoenix unless you have that range upgrade. And actually, this will be interesting. This is something that might actually just be very funny. Because both of them are going for a very heavy Phoenix build to start things off here, I wonder if one of them goes to the Fleet Beacon and manages to get out that tech that allows the Phoenix to have increased range. That would actually be a huge deal in this game, because at that point, it's basically the guy with the range is going to win all the Phoenix battles. Alright, this Phoenix is definitely going to go down just because there's two of them there. This Phoenix is actually fleeing, and now we're going to have just Phoenix dogfights. Who sees this in Protoss versus Protoss? I'm actually just nerding out right now. I never see this in Protoss versus Protoss. This Phoenix is going to go down too, but not before it takes down this one also. This is just silly. This is so silly. Both players are actually just losing units right now, and they're just very content with continuing to make these Phoenixes. So it is really just a Phoenix dogfight war. This is like World War I, where it's all about ace pilots and stuff up in the skies above Ohana. This is actually just a crazy Protoss versus Protoss right now between these two players. Alrighty, so we now have the Nexus going down for both of our players. It is roughly timed out about the same. Both players are pretty much have just dogfought their way into a stalemate in the skies. They're gonna have to start mixing in some additional tech if one of them actually wants to secure an advantage over the other. We do have two Phoenixes that are actually moving over into the middle of the map, but again, they have to be very careful because Hero has 4 Phoenix out on the field. Inori has actually stopped Phoenix production. So we have 5 Phoenixes out for Hero, who's continuing to make an additional one. So we will have 6 Phoenixes out in a moment. Meanwhile, for Inori, he has actually just stopped Phoenix production at 4. So we have 4 Phoenixes out on the field for Inori, 6 for Hero, and he is actually continuing to make Phoenix. Alright, Inori is just now starting up Phoenix production again, but at this point, Hero does have a very definitive Phoenix advantage that he looks like he is interested in actually pressing at the moment. Like I said, you can't out-micro a Phoenix with a Phoenix, so these Phoenixes are actually just going to be able to shoot down all of the Phoenixes in Inori's army. There's not much Inori can actually do about it, and Inori is actually overcommitting very heavily with these Phoenixes. He cannot deal with the superior Phoenix count of Hero, and now these Phoenixes are actually retreating, but for some reason it does look like Hero will actually be able to catch them, does get a few shots up on that first Phoenix, but there isn't really much in the way of stalkers or any sort of basic anti-air down on the field for Inori. Now, Hero's actually chasing Inori's Phoenixes back into the main base, but 2 Phoenixes do actually emerge out of that Stargate for Inori. So now Hero's the one that's actually in a little bit of trouble here. The Phoenixes combined with the Stalkers will actually be very, very effective against Hero's Phoenixes. Now we have a huge aerial battle going on over here. Another Phoenix for Inori does go down. Another Phoenix for Inori does go down. Hero's actually just barely coming away with additional Phoenix kills. This Phoenix is down to 20 hit points remaining. Almost no shields available on it. Another probe does go down by these Phoenixes. This is just nuts. Who sees this sort of thing? Okay, now Inori is the first one that's actually going to be dropping down this Fleet Beacon. He is going to be going for Phoenix range. This is what I was actually wondering about earlier. With such a huge investment by Phoenixes on both sides, that range upgrade is actually going to be very good. It's much better in this matchup than it would ever be in Protoss versus Zerg, because it will basically allow Inori's Phoenixes to just out-micro all of Hero's Phoenixes, but that's not going to matter if he loses all of his Phoenixes. Inori, you got to get out of there, man. If you're going to be investing in this Fleet Beacon, you cannot afford to lose all of your Phoenixes like that. This is just crazy. This is just a crazy Protoss versus Protoss. Guys, if you don't know, I am actually never usually a fan of this matchup, but who ever sees stuff like this? Whoever sees it, you never see stuff like this. This is just Phoenix Wars. This is like Star Battle, that custom game. Okay, finally we have the Anion Pulse Crystals coming down for Inori. He is chronoing that out. He is with this upgrade, he will actually be able to take a definitive advantage in the air war that is this Protoss versus Protoss right now. But Hero actually does look like he's going to be transferring into, I think, a Blink Stalker heavy build right now. So how is this going to work out? Is Inori going to be able to actually come away with this because he has the Anion Pulse Crystals, or will this tech switch into Archons at this point actually be the definitive advantage? Okay, those Anion Pulse Crystals are just about finished. Inori is going to start forcing the engagement here, and now because both sides have like this pretty much the same speed, it's going to be the superior range of Inori's Phoenixes that are going to allow him to come away with this. Alright, so the battle is actually starting, but actually Hero does manage to get right into the thick of Inori's Phoenixes, and actually that was just a brilliant turnaround by Hero, completely negating the range advantage on Inori's Phoenixes. Oh, that was actually just beautiful. It was just a very prompt turnaround by Hero that actually allowed him, with the superior Phoenix count, to actually come away with that one singular battle. And Hero is actually just very heavily outplaying Inori when it comes to control at this point. But Inori does now have the range upgrade. He can actually come back into this if he actually continues to kill Phoenixes from Hero. But Hero is actually getting a lot of pro kills also in the process. Now Hero will lose all of these Phoenixes. He can't escape Inori's Phoenixes with that superior range upgrade, but the economy right now is just in Hero's advantage right now. He has 53 probes to the 44 probes of Inori. Inori was bleeding probes throughout that entire thing, and now Inori is also going to have to start contending with Blink Stalkers and Archons soon. Inori does not have any tech other than just Stargate tech. He doesn't have a Twilight Council. He doesn't have a robotics facility. He is wholly committed into these air units. And the thing is, these air units are good against Stalkers even, but they're not going to be able to do virtually anything against the Archons of Hero. So how is Inori actually going to deal with this now new threat on the ground? We are no longer going to be seeing just this very heavy air war between these two sides, which is actually very disappointing because I was actually really enjoying that. Now we're going to have Inori going up against Blink Stalkers on the ground from Hero. This is actually a lot more typical of what you usually see in this matchup. Oh, feedback! Hero, you are so smart. Hero actually utilizes feedback all over all of those Phoenixes. He doesn't manage to kill any of them, but he effectively completely shuts down those Phoenixes' ability to do any sort of damage to the ground. Now, Phoenixes can only shoot in air units. The only way that they can attack anything on the ground is with Graviton Beam, but thanks to those feedbacks from Hero, Inori can't actually utilize these Phoenixes in any sort of meaningful way against ground units, and now after that, Hero is just going to push. This is very, very bad for Inori right now. He can't even really utilize the Phoenixes all that well. He doesn't have to pick up a single Stalker, but he can only pick up so many of them, and Hero is continuing to get shots up on those Phoenixes. Now, Phoenixes are actually kind of expensive, guys. Inori just can't continue to bleed Phoenixes for nothing. This game is crazy. I'm going to pause this for a moment. You guys see why I like Hero? I've casted 3 games. This is my 3rd game that I'm casting him. It doesn't even matter what matchup it is. He just produces entertaining games. That first game against Marine King, the second game against Sen, none of them are typical Protoss games. None of them are just like A-move Colossus balls. They are all just intense, micro-intensive games with tech that you don't normally see in the matchup. This is why I love Hero, guys. You should be a fan of Hero if you like Protoss. If you just hate Protoss, well then you're just a Protoss hater. But otherwise, you should definitely be a fan of Hero. He is one of the most entertaining Protoss players to watch. Okay, so now Inori is actually switching into robotics tech. He has 2 robotics facilities down. He's chroning out Immortals, and he's getting that robotics support bay up. This will allow him to actually compete with the Blink Stalker and Archon heavy army of Hero, and this is actually a very big victory for Inori. He was able to come in and get a lot of probe kills over here at the 3rd base of Hero, but now Hero is actually going to push with his superior ground army. A lot of Graviton Beams were actually used in that previous attack, and now I don't really know if Inori can actually deal with this army of Hero. He does have some Immortals out on the field, but he doesn't really have anything to deal with the Archons. So here comes the engagement. There are no massive units for Inori to actually deal with the force fields of Hero. He does lose a single Phoenix, but he does look like he might actually lose that Nexus. There are no more force fields left for Inori. For Hero. Inori needs to actually push into this army, but it does look like Hero will actually get that Nexus down. But now Inori is actually pushing in, but Hero is just targeting down a lot of different Phoenixes right now. Like I said, he can't just afford to give away all of those Phoenixes for nothing. So that was a huge was heavily decided engagement for Hero. He was able to destroy that Nexus from Inori. Inori is now down very heavily in the econ department. A good wave of Zealots. This actually nullify a lot of the Immortals that are in Inori's army. He does get a few more kills, and now he's just going to get out of there with those Blink Stalkers. Or is he? No, he's actually going to continue to press the issue. He's going to make 2 additional Archons and some Zealots. Now, these Immortals are really good at killing Zealots, but killing Stalkers, excuse me, but they are not very good against Archons because Archons are not classified as armored. So you do not get that bonus damage. That they only do 22 damage a shot against Archons. Meanwhile, Archons do a lot more damage than that. And the Archons actually also have splash damage too. So Hero's going to have splash damage here in a moment. Well, Inori is not. Now, Inori is getting out 2 Colossus right now, but is he going to have them in time to actually contend with the superior ground army of Hero? Hero's army supply is at 61 to 58, and the economy advantage is still very heavily in Hero's favor right now. Okay, so another engagement is actually going here. Another Phoenix does actually go down. So all of the Phoenixes in Inori's fleet have actually been eliminated. A good pickup, though. Great Immortal Micro with this Warp Prison. Now, the Colossus does actually come out on the field, but it doesn't really look like it's going to matter. The superior Blink Stalker count of Hero just allow him to just blink forward and just destroy the remainder of the army, and that will do it for that brilliantly played Protoss versus Protoss. That was just intense. Like I said, guys, I am a Hero fan, and there's a reason why. That's my 3rd game that I've seen today, and they're all brilliant games. Hero just produces nothing but brilliant games. So awesome game, awesome Protoss versus Protoss by those 2 players. Phoenix Wars. Phoenix Wars was just epic. I think I'm just going to actually start going Stargate Tech in all of my Protoss versus Protosses now, just because I want to end up in a situation like this at some point. That was just fun. That was so much fun. Thanks for putting up that replay pack, Hero. I will be tweeting at you later today, thanking you on there, because that was actually so much fun. I am going to go through and review all of the games that are in that replay pack, but that'll probably do it for my casting today. That was 3 casts for today, and my voice is starting to be shot a little bit just because of how excited I was in that last game. So, if you like my casting or if you have any feedback for me, I know my observing needs work. It's one of those things that I am continuing to work on. If you have any additional feedback for me, or if you would like your own game cast, let me know. Shoot me an email. I am ktvindicare@hotmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter. I am @ktvindicare. So that'll do it for today, guys. Thanks for watching.